Okay, folks, we've got with us now the candidates for the 86th district race, Mr. John Smithee and Jamie Haynes. Thanks you both for being here tonight. We're going to start with a minute introduction, and Ms. Haynes, you want to go first?
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for holding this forum this evening. I'm happy to be here. My name is Jamie Haynes. I'm running for the Texas House District 86, Conservative Republican. I was brought up in Central Texas, the real geographic heart of Texas, Brady, Texas, and McCullough County. Father's a rancher, mom's a pharmacist. Went to college at Texas Tech University, where I met the love of my life, J.T. Haynes. Majored in management and information systems. Moved back to Amarillo and got a job, was working, decided to pursue my MBA at West Texas A&M University right there in Canyon, and got a degree from them, really proud of that. Worked in the computer field for many years, just over a decade, as a programmer, as an application developer. Moved over and transitioned into a business, had a photography studio for 2+ years. Enjoyed running my own small business. Got to understand the ins and outs of all that entails, including cleaning, to running the webpage, to paying your employees, and balancing your budget. About that time, my husband had started a real estate brokerage on the side, and it took off, so we decided to sell my studio. We successfully marketed it and sold it, and I joined him, and then we ran that business for it's about 15 years now. It's very successful. Actually, our brokerage is the #1 team in town right now, so we're very proud of that. At some point in there, what I like to say, ran into the government, if you will. I engaged heavily and saw that it was broken. I took it upstream to the state level and got really involved in the Republican Party of Texas, joined state coalitions, and this last session was really involved and just saw what was happening in the Texas House, and I was distraught. That is what brought me to this stage today, and I am really looking forward to trying to make Texas a much better place to live, something amazing for our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'm John Smithee. I've been privileged to be state representative representing the 86th district since 1985. I want to recognize my wife, Becky, who's my wife of 44 years, and we have all 3 of our children here this evening, and I'm proud to have them here with us. Our grandkids aren't here. If they were, you'd know it, believe me. So anyway, serving in the legislature and serving the people of this area has been a labor of love for Becky and I both, because we both grew up here in Amarillo. We lived here all of our lives. We chose to raise our children here, and we've chosen to make our family, to raise our family, have our children raise our family right here in the Panhandle. We think this is the best place to live, it's the best place to work, it's the best place to be. We always enjoy going to Austin for a legislative session, but we can't wait to get back to Amarillo, get back to the Panhandle. One of the things that we've discovered in Austin is that we're a long way from Austin. We're 500 miles from the state capital. We're closer to parts of the Panhandle, at least parts of my district, are closer to 5 state capitals than they are to Austin. And we don't have the population numbers up here, so we only have 2.5 representatives to represent the Panhandle. We have the we have the Western Panhandle, which includes the district I represent. We have the Central, and then Ken King represents a portion of the Eastern Panhandle. I talked to Ken this morning, and I told him I've been referring to him as half a legislator, because he goes down to the Permian Basin. So everything we get in the Panhandle, we have to fight for. I mean, we really do. Nobody gives us anything. And I'm very proud of what our delegation has been able to do over the last few years. We've secured, it's a team effort, believe me. You can't do anything by yourself, but we secured the new tech vet school. The ag complex at WT, the new mental hospital here in in the Panhandle. So many good things for this area, and I appreciate the Pioneer, appreciate you all being here tonight.
Keep in mind, we'll start with you on the questions. I don't think there's going to be surprises on most of these, but what steps should be further taken down in the legislature to deliver property tax relief to Texas?
Well, you know, there's a couple of things about property tax. One that a lot of people don't realize is the state doesn't assess or collect any property tax. But in the Constitution, we don't. All property tax is collected by local government entities, school districts, cities, counties, water districts, different types of districts. So we don't impose any property taxes. We do authorize, the legislature authorizes these governmental entities to assess and collect these taxes. So the way we did this last session is about the only way we can reduce property taxes without revamping the system entirely. And so what we did is we had a big budget surplus this time. One of our largest expenditures of our budget was giving money back to the taxpayers in two ways. One was raising the homestead exemption. Most of you know now we raised the exemption up to $100,000 for your homestead. Most everybody's homestead taxes for their home in our district went down this year, and that's a good thing. We also compressed the rate, and what that means is we basically reduced the rate. And so we gave some real property tax. Well, it was about $12 billion plus the $6 billion we did last time of property tax relief. So that helps some, but it doesn't cure the overall problem of rising appraisals that constantly increase and rising rates. And so we need to continue to look at ways to try to deal with the property taxes because it's one of the hardest taxes that hits Texas families. We don't want to make home ownership a thing in the past. Thanks.
Jamie, I'd like to start with one. We really need to try to keep these answers a little short, okay? Got to stay on time. They're going to kick us out of here at 9 o'clock. I should have done that. Jamie, what are your thoughts on what the legislature might be able to do to get some more relief for Texans with their property taxes?
So there is another option, and a lot of the conservatives advocate for this option. So what we've done is we have debt. We have created debt, and we have to pay that down. And we did, as he said, had a large surplus in the budget this session. But instead of being fiscally responsible and taking that money to pay down that debt and work on a long-term plan to get rid of it, we're giving it back to people in small chunks. Now, I know that sounds great short-term, but long-term, as property values continue to increase, it's going to hurt people that are on fixed budgets that can't pay these ever-increasing numbers as time continues. And as we know, as realtors, that property values are probably not ever going to go down. They're going to continue to rise. And so the more fiscally responsible option would have been to pay down our debt. And so lots of different people have plans for that. It would be something where we would have to be committed to it and not just committed for one session over a period of time, but it's something that as conservatives we just need to look at and work towards.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and keep in mind. We've got an invasion going on down at the south border. What are your thoughts in terms of the legislature and what it might be able to do, and what would you bring to the table with ideas to help with that problem?
Yeah, so a couple of things there. I still only have 1 minute, right? So this session we had...
These are the easy questions, so we thought we'd just give the 1 minute.
The border's easy, okay. So this session, as you guys know, well, or you might not know, I talked about this last forum, but we had a bill called, it was a Border Protection Unit, BPU. And so it was actually our speaker's priority bill, and he essentially killed it, allowed it to be killed by a point of order on the House floor. And so again, this goes back to why I am here, because I saw that the Texas House was broken. I saw that it's not being run by ours. They're ours in name, but it's being run by the other side, and they're killing conservative legislation, and that Border Protection Unit would have helped us dramatically. It would have given us a whole new unit specific to Texas to defend our borders. And again, not just down between Mexico. That's a huge problem, but we have drugs flowing in from the other sides too. But again, it died because of what's happening in the Texas House. And we have to change some of these seats out. We have to get a true, strong conservative legislation and don't have folks that are voting on the other side.
Well, we've tried about everything we can try, but what has happened in the last month, and you've heard about it, is razor wire, concertina razor wire. We appropriated $1.5 billion in one of our special sessions to build new border wall for the state border wall, not federal. But what we figured out is that we can run over 50 miles of concertina border the razor wire for what we can do 1 mile of border wall. And we're putting it up as we speak right now. And I just heard today, we got the numbers back. A month ago at the Del Rio sector, they were getting 4,000 people crossing a day. This week, they had averaged 20 a day. It's gone down from 4,000 to 20 in a period of a month. And you can thank your governor for that, because he has been putting it up. The federal government has been cutting the wire, but we're putting it up a lot faster than they can cut it. And we're going to keep putting it up. And the more they cut it, the more we're going to put up. We've got the money to put it up. And so that's what we're going to do. That's what we're doing. We finally found a solution here. And the governor took over Shelby Park, and where they were using, the cartels were using it as a staging area. It is shut down, Shelby Park. Nothing's happening there. And this month, Texas has become the third. The figures that are in so far this month, we've gone to number 3 in the number of illegal crossings. Arizona, California, and now Texas. And that's real progress. We're really proud of that.
Thank you, John. We'll start moving into some of the audience questions. Something on everybody's mind that's got anybody going through higher education, trying to get a college degree or pay for it themselves, is the cost. The costs just seem to be going out of control. John, what can the legislature do going forward to address these continuing rising costs in public higher education?
Well, this is a matter of real concern because, we basically fund higher education in Texas. And over the years, as the Republicans have controlled the legislature, and you've had Republican governors who have appointed the boards of regents at these universities, we've seen a real problem in terms of not only the cost rising and rising as students go into more and more debt, but we've also seen what is being taught. These institutions have been turned from institutions of education into institutions of indoctrination. And here's what I would use for a model. I would use what West Texas A&M is doing right now under Dr. Windler's leadership at the Hill Institute, funded largely by Alex Fairley. And what they are doing is they are incorporating what they call basic panhandle values into higher education. And it's things like hard work and personal responsibility and patriotism. That's what we need to be teaching, not only in our public schools, but our institutions of higher education. And West Texas A&M is not only doing that, but they're trying to make college education more affordable for their students. So we've had some of the state leaders have been up here and they witnessed this. And hopefully what is going on at WT right now, here in the Panhandle of Texas, will become a model for what will happen in the rest of the state.
Thank you, John. Jamie, what are your thoughts to get to the legislature as to what might be done to start getting some of these costs in line?
So, higher education. I think you touched on some great points as far as how it's have a lot of woke initiatives going on in our higher education colleges across Texas and the United States for that matter. I think there are some conservative solutions out there. I was asked to attend the Wall Builders Legislative Summit. It's normally for senators and House reps all across the United States, and it was a session that was in Texas actually in the month of October in Dallas, and we had representation from all over the United States. And there was actually a plan presented at the summit about how we can start to move these woke universities more to the right. And so part of that plan is us changing out the AP College Board and having a conservative version of that, because they're controlling and dictating what is going to be taught. A part of that would be changing out the structure of some universities where they have the power, and I'm summarizing, but basically to get rid of some of these tenured professors that are making these decisions. So until we do that and start changing the direction of our universities, nothing's going to change. And I think when we get them back on track, I think, one, that'll increase attendance across the United States.
Thank you. Next question, Jamie, what's your position on school choice and school vouchers?
I really only get a minute for that. So,
you can take a minute and a half.
okay, so the Republican Party of Texas legislative priority is no strings attached school choice. The no strings attached is super important, and we fought really hard at our state convention to make sure that that was in there. And so, no strings attached means that we don't want the government to get their hooks into our Christian schools, our private schools, because once they take the money, then they're never going to let go. They're going to mandate and dictate and tell us what to do. And this beautiful, beautiful thing that every parent in Texas wants, some of them want for their kids and are desiring to get for their kids, it's going to go away. It's going to dissolve, and it's going to morph into something else once the government gets their hooks in. What would be a no strings attached school choice? Just like if you own farmland, you get an ag exemption, right? So you're never giving your money to the government and then them giving it back to you with all these strings attached, with all these rules and things, right? So that would be the only kind of thing I would look for. I am passionate about Texas public education. I'm not a quitter. I feel like we need to, yes, take care of our teachers. We need to empower parents and parental rights. We need to have stronger enforcement in the classrooms. And again, we have, no matter what happens with school choice, we're going to have millions of children in Texas public education, and we've got to get it right. We have to fix it. This is the future of Texas, and we need to take care of our kids.
Thank you, Jamie. John, would you give us your thoughts on school choice and school vouchers?
Well, you know, it's amazing. I represent a district that has a number of rural school districts. Walcott and Adrian are two of the smaller districts in the state of Texas. I compare those districts to the Houston school district. It's a very diverse state. And it appears, I mean, it seems to me that these decisions as to whether to have a voucher system or ESAs would best be made on a local level, on a local option basis, which seems to make sense. And so you look at the voters in each district to make that decision for that district. And you can have that debate where it needs to take place in the local district, on the local level, and let people that live in those districts make those decisions. That's the best way to do it. Now, there are some school districts in this state that I would not want my child going to school there. One of those is the Austin Independent School District. They have a gay pride week every year, and students are basically forced to participate. I don't want to indoctrinate students. I want them learning how to read and write, not being indoctrinated with ideology. And some of the schools that exist in Houston right now are dangerous. You have gangs present, you have all kinds of drugs, you have all kinds of problems. You can't pray there, but you can sell drugs there. It's amazing. And so that's the state that we see some of our public schools in. So parents need a way to protect their children. And so I think those decisions are best made on a local basis.
John, there's been a movement going through the state, city by city, for sanctuary cities for the unborn. Is there anything that in your mind that the legislature needs to get involved with on that topic? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, you know, we passed, before the Dobbs decision came out, we passed the heartbeat bill, which was one of the strongest pro-life bills in the country. And we did that in a way that was engineered where we felt like we had a substantial likelihood that we could be upheld when it hit the federal courts and ultimately the Supreme Court. We never got an ultimate decision on that because in the interim, in 2022, the Supreme Court issued the Dobbs decision, which reversed Roe versus Wade. Thank God for that. And so, so as far as the sanctuary city legend, there are some things that we can still do. We're still seeing abortions occurring in Texas with the with the pharmaceuticals, and the state needs to clamp down on that. We're also, and this has come up, is the area of trafficking for abortion, where you have organizations that are basically profiting and making money by moving young ladies out of the state to obtain an abortion. And we need to deal with that in every way that we can. As far as the local sanctuary city ordinances, I have a lot of confidence in our mayor and our current city council. I think that they've approached this the right way. Instead of just taking a boilerplate ordinance, what they've done is they've carefully deliberated. They took a lot of public input. I know I talk to the mayor very often about how we can make the city ordinance that's ultimately adopted work with the state law to achieve the most baby protective and young mother protective ordinance and statute in the city of Amarillo and the state of Texas that work together possible. Definitely, Amarillo needs to be a sanctuary city for the unborn, definitely. And now the really hard part is seeing how to work with that ordinance.
Thank you. Jamie?
First of all, back on school choice, I'm an advocate for local control as well, as why it's part of my platform. But again, my question would be, why didn't we have any bills presented in the House that had anything that had local control with school choice as an option? There weren't any. It was quite the opposite. As far as sanctuary city of the unborn goes, I'm 100% pro-life, and there's not a but after that. Where I stand, I just believe one day I'm going to meet my maker, and he's going to say, Jamie, and look me right between the eyes and say, did you do everything that you possibly could to protect the innocent? And I want to make sure that my answer is yes. Absolutely yes. Whatever kind of deterrent there is out there, whatever tool we have available, I am willing to do it. And I will say that when we passed the heartbeat bill in Texas, it was celebrated not just in our state, but throughout the nation. And so that same mechanism that we're using in that is what is being applied here locally. And so and other cities and counties across Texas has adopted it. And so I have full faith that this will play out. I think we're seeing government at its best here locally. We have citizens that are advocating for what they feel, and we have elected officials. And so I think it will play out the way it needs to be, or things will change and we'll come back around. But where I stand is I will do everything I possibly can to save a life.
Jamie, one more question from the audience is your past affiliation with Amarillo Matters. People are concerned you may not be a conservative. How do you address those misgivings and concerns, and what can you tell the folks that they don't have to?
Okay, first of all, I am a conservative, and when I started paying attention to Texas politics, which I really did not a lot, I always voted, of course, conservatively, always voted Republican, but I wanted to learn. I am a big throw yourself into it 1,000%, so that's why I joined every conservative group in town. I joined state coalitions, I got involved with the Republican Party, I did everything I possibly could. And I heard about this group in town that was trying to make Amarillo a better place, and I understood that they were going to get really involved in school elections, and so that really interested me. I wanted to learn more. These were community businessmen, leaders that I had known. The main gentleman that was in charge was previously my Sunday school teacher. And so I said, absolutely, I want to get in this group. And so I did. I joined, they asked me, I said yes, and I was in it for about 11 months. I realized about that time that there were other things calling me, and that was everything that was going on with the Republican Party and these coalitions. I felt very led to devote more of my time to that. It was very consuming trying to travel back and forth to Austin, and so I left that group. I said, thank you guys so much. I just feel led over here. Did we agree on everything? We did not. Did I voice my opinion a lot? I did not. I was just sitting there kind of listening, learning. It was very interesting. It was a good experience. I don't regret it. A lot of those men, and there were a couple of women that came and went, are leaders in our community and do a lot of great things for our community. So I don't want to downplay that group or be negative towards that group in any way. If I were to do it all over again, I would still join them. I learned, And, but I feel led to spend my time in different areas, to focus on children, to focus on Texas.
Thank you, Jamie. John, the audience has some specific questions for you too. One is the concern about how long you've served in the legislature. And they want to know, is this an issue that you're about to address? Because if you were to make a run for speaker, does that mean you're going to stay there for another 10 years, or do you have any plans on that? What can you tell us about your future in running and holding office downstate?
Well, I've been in office for a long time, but one thing we've realized is that to make an impact in Austin, our best friend in the Panhandle is seniority, and we've been very fortunate. We've had some senior members who have stayed, and that's why it's important for us to have seniority. I'll tell you what, seniority, the main thing that gets me, I can choose any committee in the House that I want to be on. And the last few sessions I've chosen State Affairs, which most of the high-profile legislation comes through that committee. It's one of the hardest committees to get on, but I can get on that committee just by asking for it because of my seniority. My seniority has also allowed me to build relationships with the other members. I can say that I get along with every Republican member in the Texas House. Very few people can say that. Fort Price can say it, and I can say it. We get along with everybody. And we know that there's nothing, I can't do anything for this community unless I get 75 other House members to go along with me. Nothing. I can't do anything. I can't get any funding. I can't pass any bill that will benefit this community unless I can get at least 75 other House members to help me, and usually the Speaker. And so I have to have a good relationship with committee chairmen, chairwomen, and also with the Speaker to get anything done for this community. And so you look at what we've been able to accomplish for this area with basically, as I said, 2.5 members. It's pretty impressive. Most other areas of the state envy what we've been able to put together for the Panhandle, to do some special things for an area that we really love. And one of the things that I want to do before, not necessarily before my tenure in the legislature, so we're going to get that loop around Amarillo completed. And you see the machinery out there now, and I'm telling you, we're going to get it completed. So,
I think that there's a little bit of doubt obviously out there in the crowd on that. We've got about 1 minute left for each one of you. Want to give us your closing thoughts? We've got the mic. Go ahead.
I just have to address the last question since I didn't get a rebuttal on that. Seniority. If you ask anybody, where is the power in the Texas House? Of course, the Speaker, but besides that, it's the committee chairmanships. The committee chairs have all the power, and Representative Smithee is not a chair. So if the seniority gets us so much, why is he not a chair right now? And then I would add to that, you mentioned State Affairs. I'm just going to be blunt. If you ask any of the grassroots conservatives across Texas, what is the #1, not counting calendars committee, what is the #1 committee that we probably had the most conservative legislation fail? It's State Affairs. It comes up again and again and again. And so again, if this seniority is moving the needle for us, I'm not seeing it, respectfully. That's my opinion. But plenty of others agree with me. Closing, I would say, this is a hard deal. It's not really fun to stand up here and say these kind of things, but I am up here because I feel called. I feel led. I am just a citizen like you guys who's stepping forward, volunteering my time, asking you guys to hire me for a small amount of money, but hire me to go work for you down in Austin. I am an all-in kind of girl. I will give you my heart, my soul, all of my time, all of my resources to do the absolute best job I can to represent our conservative Panhandle values. And I will fight aggressively. I will increase communication. I will be at this job full-time. And you have my cell phone numbers, and any of you can call me anytime you want, and I will call you back. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
you know, we talked about this at the last forum we had, so I better address it again. You know, I've been a committee chairman more sessions than any other person in the history of the Texas House. I was chair of the Insurance Committee for 22 years, chair of the Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence Committee for 4. And the reason that I'm not a chair right now is that that we live in a situation where a deal that hasn't always been the case, but to be a committee chair, you have to basically pledge loyalty to the speaker. You have to vote the way the speaker wants you to vote. I don't go to Austin to represent the speaker. I go to Austin to represent the men and women and children of the Texas Panhandle. An example of that is the Paxton impeachment. I was told that if you stand up for Ken Paxton against the impeachment, you may never get another bill passed as long as Dave Phelan is speaker. You know, that's a pretty big deal. And that may be true, it may not be, I don't know. But you think about it and you think, am I going to be intimidated not to do what I think is the right thing? And so I got up there and gave what I thought was a great speech, ended up getting 23 votes. You know, I don't think I changed anybody's mind. But sometimes you just got to stand up for what's right. And I'm not going to trade the independence that you all have given me and the responsibility that you all have given me for a committee chairmanship. It's not worth it to me. I want to do the right thing and be the kind of representative you want. And I get all my work done. I get my bills passed even though I'm not a committee chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Smithee and Jamie Haynes are your candidates for 86th District. Folks, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.